This isn't going to be another video where someone tells you to just post more or sing better or wait for the right opportunity. And it's definitely not one of those just believe harder messages either. I want to tell you the truth about how I earned my first 5,000 using my voice and what that moment revealed to me about obedience, alignment, and stewardship. And by the end of this video, you'll see your gift very differently. Most people think earning money with your voice is about being the top talent or having the right exposure. It's not. I want to share with you what earning that first 5,000 revealed to me, because when that happened, something shifted and it had very little to do with money and everything to do with obedience and being in step with God. If you've ever felt gifted but quietly thought, this is probably just a hobby, or this could never be anything real, this conversation is for you. Now, I want to set expectations for the posture of this conversation. This isn't hype. This isn't impulsive. This isn't a go quit your job message. Don't do that. And this isn't about chasing money. This is about clarity. And what I learned is that clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from alignment. Most people treat clarity like a light switch. Either it's on or it's off. But clarity doesn't work like that. I like to think of clarity more like a dimmer switch. And a lot of people are standing in the dark, waiting for the room to be fully lit, not realizing that their hand is already on the switch. Clarity is when what you believe matches what you do. In other words, it's believing something and actually living it out. There are so many people walking around with real gifts, real callings, and real desire, but they have no framework for what to do with it. And no framework, I often find, creates confusion, it creates delay, and unnecessary struggle. I mean, if we're being honest, you know you're gifted. That's why you're here watching. But maybe you've never considered that your gift might also be a responsibility. Or maybe you've thought of your calling as just a passion. But what if it's stewardship? At some point, you separated what you're good at from what God could actually use in your everyday life. You probably thought, this is something I'm good at, or this is just a talent, or this isn't how provision happens, and so on. So what do? You push it to the side. And without realizing it, you started believing that stability and provision had to come from somewhere else, a different job, a safer plan, a more practical path. Certainly not through you, not through your gift, not through the thing that God already placed in your hands. No. But that belief didn't come from God. It came from fear. It came from culture. It came from separating faith from real life. When I earned that first 5,000, something shifted. And it wasn't like a spotlight that suddenly turned on. It was more like the room started to brighten. Not all at once, but just enough to see my next step. And that's what alignment did. It didn't answer every question. It just turned the light up just enough for me to move. You see, alignment is when your belief, your obedience, and your action finally agree. And that's when clarity shows up. For the first time, my obedience, my time, and my gift were no longer competing with each other. I wasn't hustling outside my grace. I wasn't borrowing someone else's model. And I wasn't striving to be someone I wasn't. I was finally using what God had already placed in me. Over time, working with my students, I started noticing a pattern. Most people don't struggle because they aren't gifted. They struggle because no one ever taught them what to do with their gift. This reminds me, I had a student, incredibly gifted, and she could not shake the desire to sing, yet she had every reason not to pursue it. Life was full, fear was loud, timing never felt right, and she kept telling herself, if it was meant to happen, it would feel clearer. That sounds spiritual and all, but it's actually just fear wearing church clothes. And the funny thing is, the desire never left her. And the longer she ignored it, the more restless she became. What she thought was confusion was actually resistance. She didn't need more clarity. She needed to turn the switch on. And the moment she took a step, not a leap, not a full commitment, just a step, the room started to brighten for her. She didn't suddenly have all the answers, but she finally had enough light to move forward. And that's what I see again and again. People don't minimize their gifts because they don't matter. They minimize them because they don't know what to do with them. But I find that what comes easy to you does not mean insignificant. Often, what comes easy to you is a sign of assignment. Stewardship means taking care of what God has trusted you with and using it the right way. Ignoring it isn't humility, hiding it isn't faith. I stopped singing for 5 years, not because I wasn't gifted, and definitely not because I wasn't called, but because I was afraid. I didn't realize it at the time, but now looking back, those years were not required. Choosing faith over fear isn't a feeling, it's an action. I've never seen clarity come from hesitation, but I have seen clarity come from movement every single time. So let me ask you this. What if the desire you feel is the confirmation? Some of you are asking God to flood the room with light when He's waiting for you to turn the switch on. Not all the way, but just enough. And if you're feeling tension right now between what you know you're capable of and what you've actually allowed yourself to build, this isn't condemnation, that's information. In this season, I'm choosing to grow what already worked, not for ego and not for applause, but for stewardship. If you remember nothing else, remember this. If you're waiting to feel clear before you move, you'll be waiting forever. Clarity comes after alignment. So don't rush past this. Sit with it. Listen again if you need to, and pray about what's already in your hands. I'll see you in the next conversation.